LSU wins it 20-10 over Florida in Tiger Stadium on Saturday night, and the defense stole all the headlines, and rightfully so. They were brilliant. The offense was not brilliant. The offense was clunky. You look at what LSU did on its first 3 drives, they did not get a first down. They came out with the football in the first drive, 3 plays, 6 yards, punt. Got the ball back, 3 plays, 9 yards, punt. Then on their third possession, 3 plays, 1 yard, punt. Those 3 drives in total did not last 3 minutes of game time. Then you got into a little bit of a groove. You got the field goal drive that was set up by the interception, and then on the next drive, you went 76 yards on 10 plays. Nussmeier looked good. He looked in rhythm, hit Aaron Anderson over the middle a couple times, had the touchdown pass to Xavier Thomas on a gorgeous throw and catch, and that looked like you were kind of feeling it. And I was puzzled why on the next drive, midway through the second quarter, LSU decided to punt when I thought you had a hot quarterback and you needed to get a yard. Now, you're not very good at getting a yard, and Brian Kelly said today in his press conference that there were a couple of auto goes on the analytics that he decided to punt because the defense he trusts. And we talked about that for 2 weeks now since the Clemson game. He's going to change the way that he coaches based on the way that this defense is playing, and it worked. You won by 2 scores. But you got a field goal from the interception right before the half. You go in with the lead, and then here are your second half drives. 3 plays, 1 yard, punt. 4 plays, 40 yards, punt. 4 plays, 48 yards, ended on the interception. You had the one nice connection to Bauer Sharp, and then you had the final drive of the game where Caden Durham busted the 51-yard run. But it was punt, interception, punt in the second half, and that's just not good enough. The running game was anemic. It has been now for 3 games. I looked up the statistics earlier today. You're talking about a rushing offense right now that is 117th in the country with 110 yards per game. Yards per carry, you're 109th in the country. And your scoring offense is 108th in the country. Like, that's not a sustainable way, in my opinion, to win games. You've got to find a way to be better on the offensive side of the football than you have been through the first 3 games. Nussmeier, 15 of 27, 220 yards, a touchdown, and that really bad interception. The running game, 25 carries for 96 yards, which looks decent until you realize that for 58 minutes and 20 seconds, it was atrocious. You had the one, look, it's 3rd and 1. You got to get a first down. You bust one for 51 yards. That's great. I'm glad you busted it for 51 yards. I prefer that than not doing it at all. I'd really like it to get going in the first 58 minutes of the game if you can find it. And maybe they found something with that I formation with Jack Pyburn at fullback and going under center. We'll see. But you've got to be a lot better than you were offensively in this game. And now that brings us to the news of today. Brian Kelly said in his press conference, Jacques Doucet from WAFB asked him, hey, is there something mechanically with Nussmeier that's just not quite right? And Brian Kelly kind of looked and he went, well, I wasn't going to say anything, but like he's dealing with a torso injury and he's battling through it. My antenna has been up on this for a month, okay? I have been going to LSU football practice since 2010. That is 15 years I've gone out to LSU football practice. I do not recall ever in 15 years going to a practice and seeing the starting quarterback take reps and not throw any footballs. I've never seen that. We saw it twice inside 2 weeks of the Clemson game. The Saturday prior to that game, we went into Tiger Stadium for a full squad workout, and Garrett Nussmeier never threw the ball and didn't take reps. And then Brian Kelly was asked about it, and he said, well, he just on a pitch count. We don't want to overwork his arm. And my antenna was up on that. And we talked to Garrett Nussmeier prior to the Clemson game, and Koki Riley from The Advocate asked him about kind of the pitch count and the workload kind of being limited a little bit. And Garrett kind of looked at it and said, yeah, I don't know anything about that. And so I'm sitting there going, okay, something's up. And Brian Kelly confirmed that today with a torso injury. This makes sense. LSU is not pushing the ball down the field. They threw 3 balls beyond 20 yards in the game on Saturday. They're not really doing much of that at all this year. They tried on the deep ball the first drive against Louisiana Tech, and the ball came up 15 yards short of where it was supposed to be. Now, he may have just thrown a duck. It may have just been a bad throw, or it may be a torso injury doesn't allow him to throw it that far. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not talking to Garrett, and I'm just going off the press conference answers. But I can put all these dots together and go, he's not right. And I'm fine with LSU not revealing that. I've made my stance on injuries very, very clear. I don't believe the press has a right to an injury report. I don't believe the opposition has a right to an injury report. And I don't care about gamblers that feel like they need to know injury stuff. You're gambling your money. It's a gamble. So if you don't have the right injury report, I don't care. So I'm fine with the way LSU has handled this and not revealing it. And some are saying, well, there's an injury report. Why wasn't he on it? Well, we found out that you don't have to put a player on an injury report unless that player misses practice time or is limited. Now, I would suggest Garrett was limited in what we saw in August. It's now been 4 weeks since then, so I don't know what he's doing right now. And if he's not limited and he is going through everything that they want him to do, well, then you don't need to put him on the injury report. And I'm, again, 100% fine with hiding that. I think it would be a disadvantage to give your opponent the information that your quarterback's dealing with a torso injury. I agree with all of that. I disagree vehemently with Brian Kelly with one quote today from the press conference. He said that he can't really shut it down until the bye week. Incorrect. He can shut it down right now, today, with Southeastern on the schedule on Saturday. That is a glorified scrimmage. Southeastern Louisiana may as well play a different sport than LSU altogether. They did not score a point against Louisiana Tech. Their players, this is literally a true story. I found this out this morning. My buddy lives in New Orleans. He moved this week. 2 of the guys that helped him move play football for Southeastern. That's their side job. Like, not a lot of LSU guys carrying dressers in Baton Rouge to help people move for side gigs. The NIL stuff takes care of that. There is no reason, zero whatsoever, that Garrett Nussmeier needs to be throwing footballs and game plan and taking reps for Southeastern Louisiana this week. This is a bye week. You put this on the schedule as a bye week. Period. So I understand that college football players work extremely hard 12 months out of the year. Early morning wake-ups, running 110s, weightlifting, game plan, film watching, practices, study hall, tests. Like, it is an enormous burden on them for 12 nights a year. Enormous. And to take that away from some folks, I get it. It's hard to do. But there are bigger things that need to be accomplished here than beating Southeastern on Saturday. You're going to beat them no matter who you put out there. LSU could literally play Juwan Johnson at quarterback and crush Southeastern on Saturday. They could play any of the walk-ons that they've got on the field at quarterback. I don't even know any of their names on the team. They can play quarterback. LSU would win the game handily. It's not a fair fight. They shouldn't even play these games against FCS schools. It's not a fair fight. But it does give you, if you're going to put this on the schedule and you're going to write them a check and they're going to come in here and lose by 50-something points, you might as well use it to your advantage. And if the advantage is Garrett Nussmeier not taking reps this week and not going out there and playing against Southeastern Louisiana a week before you got to go to Oxford and try to score with Ole Miss, sit him down. I'm not a doctor. I don't know exactly what's going on with Garrett. Maybe rest doesn't help. But if you tell me that he can't shut it down, quote unquote, until the bye week, which is after Ole Miss, I disagree. You shut it down right now. If there's any way that 5 days off is going to help this torso injury, oblique, pec, ribs, whatever it is, if 5 days helps, take the 5 days. Michael Van Buren could use some reps. Newsflash, Garrett Nussmeier has been banged up in his 2 years as a starter. He's got a bit of a shoddy offensive line. He takes a lot of hits. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy. You might need your backup quarterback at some point. He did not have a great training camp. Get him 4 quarters of action against an FCS team. If he throws 2 interceptions or wildly misfires on a couple of balls, it doesn't matter. You're going to win. Southeastern could play this LSU defense for a month and a half. They wouldn't score 20 points. So if this is a significant deal that's really bothering him and is a reason that your offense is compromised and not pushing the ball down the field and not scoring a lot of points, and he doesn't look like the same quarterback he was last year, and rest is going to help him, then sit him down. There's no reason to put him out there against an FCS team. So I feel confident in saying that he's going to practice fully this week and he's going to go out there and play. So if I'm not going to get my wish that he sits the whole game, they need to go out there and hang 35 in the first half so he can sit the second half. Like, if you're not going to give me my way where he sits the whole week, at least let him sit the second half. This is a team that has big, big aspirations, and they've gotten off to a good start. There are a lot of landmines down the way, and LSU, as I said in the first segment, is not going to get to an SEC championship game, a playoff, a second round of the playoff, a semifinal, a national championship game situation. None of that is going to happen if they keep scoring 17, 20 points a game. And the guy that's got to get them out of this is the quarterback. It's 18. They're not all of a sudden going to turn into a machine on the offensive line. They're not all of a sudden going to become one of the most feared rushing attacks in college football. It's not going to happen. They can get a lot better throwing the ball. They can be a lot more effective and efficient throwing the football and moving and getting points. Garrett showed it last year. But he's inaccurate right now. They're not getting the ball down the field. He's obviously compromised. Everything needs to be done to get him into the best shape he can be in. And that doesn't mean go through 4 practices this week and then go play Southeastern on Saturday. He needs to sit. It's a hard thing to tell a fifth-year senior, but it's the right thing to do for the team. And I believe Garrett Nussmeier wants a lot of great things for this team. I think he knows how he feels, and I think LSU needs to do the right thing. I just don't have the confidence they're going to do that. It's just so very rare when an athlete can play and is withheld from doing so, just as a precaution. It rarely happens. I don't think it's going to happen on Saturday, but I certainly wish that it would. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.